Dear YouTube, go right ahead and demonetize me now because hear me say it. Black Lives Matter. Take all my money if that's what it fucking takes, you psychopaths. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Live at the Roxy. Here today with returning guest Jeannine Brice, Jeannine the Machine.
Thank you so much for having me.
Jeannine with the most beautiful hair makeup combo ever, and clearly I didn't get the memo. This is what I am bringing to the table today. I'm so happy that you're here. One of the first few returning guests here live at the Roxy. But I'm sad that you are here under whatever the fuck is going on in the planet today.
Yeah.
Just starting by kind of checking in with your day to day and what your life is looking like right now. I know you're working constantly too. So what's a Jeannine day looking like right now?
So yeah, I'm still working. So I just kind of get up, go to work. My coworkers have been pretty positive. I'm the only Black person kind of working in my area. So, I mean, we have good discussions about it. Positive.
Anything's uncomfortable? Like, are they asking you questions, or are you bringing things up, or are they bringing things up?
I mean, it's kind of amicable conversations to kind of talking about things that are going on in our area. If they hear about a protest and stuff like that, we'll kind of talk about that. Or videos people have seen sharing things like that. But nothing like them kind of bugging me about, what do I need to do? They kind of are capable of looking up those things themselves. So I haven't experienced too much stuff. I did actually, though. We do these Saturday calls with my husband and his friends every Saturday night. So we get together and we do a big Zoom call and we kind of talk. And about 2 weeks ago, we were on the Zoom
socially
call. Just for socially since all this COVID stuff, because
got it.
And all his friends are in Reno anyway. So it's kind of a good kind of get together. So I'm not super close with his friends. I only really see them once a year when we do this big lake trip that we do every year. Yeah, so it's good for him to kind of see his friends, and we do it kind of as couples. So we all kind of get on these calls. So last Saturday, we were doing the call and all of this stuff kind of came up, and all of them are white. So they did kind of talk about their white privilege. They were like, we are aware of it. And we will never experience what you've experienced, Jeannine. We'll never know like that fear of being pulled over or all these kinds of things. So they were fully aware of their white privilege, having a really nice open discussion about it. And one of the friends, I don't think he understood what white privilege was. He got very confused. He got very defensive. I think he thought maybe we were like saying, white power, or we thought we were calling him a racist, or we thought he was saying he thought he was better than Black people or something like that. Because
was he making facial expressions, or was he being verbal, or what made you believe that he didn't get it?
He was getting mad because they were like, you have white power too, or white privilege too. And he was like, no, I don't. No, I don't. F you, F you, F you, like cussing all of us out because they were telling him he has white privilege. And he just didn't understand what it meant. I've been pulled over before. I've had a hard life. I'm a military brat. I've been in the military. I've had it difficult too. And everyone's trying to like calm him down and explain their points.
But anybody who is white has white privilege. This wasn't towards him.
Exactly.
Brutal.
But I just don't think he understood what it meant. So
what do you, in those moments, or because I'm sure that's not the first time and not the last time that somebody has understood that they have white privilege. Yeah. Do you feel like it's a lost cause to try to explain? Do you feel just too exhausted to explain, or do you try to explain and just hope that they fucking get it?
Yeah, like everyone else in that group was trying to explain it to him. I just kind of sat quiet and I was just kind of like shaking my head, like, how have you gotten this far and not understood like what that means? So everyone in that group understood what it meant. They were trying to explain it to him. He was just getting more and more mad and F you, F you, F you. Then he kind of walks off camera. And then I said, I don't think he understands what it means. Like, you can tell him this until you're blue in the face, but I think he thinks it means something else. I don't think he's getting it. And he heard me say that. And then he paused back on and says, fuck you too, Jeannine. And I was like, okay. So then that's when one of the friends,
he said, fuck you too, Jeannine?
Yes. So then
were you like smiling like this because you're above it all? Or were you like really upset?
I mean, I was angry, and I could kind of just laughing like, are you kidding me right now? So they kicked him off the call. And then we just kind of had this like, what just happened? Because my husband has known this guy since college, like best friends in our wedding, like this whole thing. So then, like, I guess later that night, he texts an apology, but it's still an I'm sorry, but, because obviously he doesn't get it. So a couple days ago, he did talk to my husband. He apologized. He said, like, he talked to like the greater group and they explained it to him, and now he understood. So he took the time to calm down, and then he kind of learned what it meant.
But they were explaining it to him.
Yeah, but he didn't want to hear it because he just
who the fuck does want to hear it? Nobody wants to hear they're privileged.
But I think he just didn't understand what he thought we were calling him a racist. He thought that's what white privilege meant. That you're racist. That you're equating it to white power. I think.
So had he never heard it? He had just never heard.
He had never heard that term, and he just assumed that that's what it meant, and that's why he thought we were like calling him racist, and he was going off. So I guess since then they've talked. They've explained it to him. He apologized to me, and he says, I really thought this meant something completely different. But then we did the call last night, and I just didn't feel up to being on the call. So I just excused myself and had them have their conversation. And from what I'm told, he just kind of stayed quiet most of the time. But yeah, so that's the one thing in this situation where I've had to kind of deal with it and face it. But in my day-to-day, normally, I've been okay. Any kind of protests and things I've heard about in my area, they've been peaceful. Work has been pretty unchanged. And I've gotten just kind of positivity from the people in my life. So aside from that incident that happened last week, I've been able to manage through it okay with my personal day-to-day.
Am I remembering correctly that your mom is a nurse, or did I make that up? Or
so I'm the only one who's not a nurse. I work at a surgical hospital. I work in the kitchen. So I bring patients their food and stuff like that.
But I think I remember that your mom was in charge of a COVID unit, right?
Yes. So my mom's a nurse, my dad's a nurse, my brother's a nurse, and my sister's a nurse. So they're all nurses.
Have they seen any spike in cases since the protests?
No, they say it's still it's been more because I think when all of this was going on, they had less people before all of this. So it's kind of getting back to normal, I guess. But they haven't seen a lot of COVID cases. It's just kind of.
So I'm not like much of a conspiracy theorist person, and keep in mind I'm definitely not a scientist, and I'm for sure as hell not a doctor. So I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I do think it is strange, I guess would be the word, that there have been hundreds of thousands of people protesting out, and there are
all wearing masks and
not all wearing masks, and all within inches of each other. You know, in LA, like 20,000 people on one block will be protesting, and the amount of cases hasn't gone
crazy, skyrocketed.
There hasn't been like a huge spike. Have you thought about that at all? And do I sound crazy for even mentioning it?
I've thought about that for sure. Like, that's one of the things, like, me and my coworkers talk about, like, how has nothing really spiked? How have we not heard about anything like going crazy? Because it was like, stay inside, stay away from people 6 feet apart. And now you have crowds of people gathering, and you're not hearing about more COVID deaths, more, crazy hospital, invasion of people coming in. Like, it's all very suspect.
Sally Mercedes, who's an awesome rock star, I love you being in here all the time. But Sally says protest-related COVID cases won't be an issue for another week or two. All the cases now are from Memorial Day. That is true, but okay, so they say that COVID cases can come up to 12 days later, but that typically within 3 to 5 days, symptoms are seen. Yeah. And I haven't heard about, even if it's not the hospitals, I haven't really heard, because all of my friends are protesting right now.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard much about anybody having COVID symptoms. So I guess we will see, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not a believer in religion, but I do feel like somebody is looking down on these protesters, being like, nope,
we got you.
Yeah, we got you. Do this. We'll fucking put this shield up or whatever we have to do. Like, did you see that video about that was Avengers Assemble, but
Yes.
they put like, oh my God,
so
it was
good.
amazing.
Yes.
And when they go like K-pop and all their fans and like,
Yeah.
it was so great, guys.
love
It's like all the people that are rising and like fighting actively against racism, and it was all of the different people on Twitter and this.
Yeah.
It was
Coming
so
in.
good.
Yes. I loved equating
but
it to that moment.
But I feel like the shield around us is some kind of God or higher power that's like, no, here's your bubble. We will not let people get sick from this.
And I mean, did you see the lightning hitting the Washington Monument? If that's not a sign, like from above, I don't know what is.
How do you think that this time is going to be reported about in the future? Like moments like that, or what we're talking about, do you think that this is going to be added to the history books? Do you think that it's going to be on parents to teach their kids, or this is going to be part of curriculum in school? Like this is the biggest thing that I think that we, for different reasons than things like 9/11, but this is one of the biggest things we've ever lived through.
Yeah.
And biggest moments in our history. So what do you think? How is this going to be discussed?
Yes, I think 2020 definitely is going to be in your history books to learn about, because this is a crazy time that I never, you hear about your parents and your grandparents living through things like this. You listen to songs like from 30 years ago and watch movies from 30 years ago that talk about this stuff. But you've never lived through it.
Right.
And now we are. And it's like, I don't know. It's just 6 months into a new year and all of this craziness has happened. There's no way it's not going to be documented and discussed and broken down. And I think people do need to hear about it and learn about it. It's just like, I can't believe we're here now. It's insane.
I feel like one day, and not for many years, because we're just going to keep fighting and pushing for change, but one day this will be recorded as simply as, well, not the COVID part, that will be a little more complicated and scientific to explain, but this will be reported as half the people thought that Black Lives mattered, and then half of the people didn't, and those were the idiots. Like, and that's kind of as simple
as it gets.
Like, I feel like it's a page in your textbook that's like 50% of the people were on the right side, and then 50% of the people have now died and are generations have moved past, and those people and then students reading that are going to be like, they thought that what?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, what?
Because we did all of this simply for asking for equality.
Right.
That's it.
That's the whole thing. Anybody, like, people have tweeted at me because obviously I've been very vocal. How can you say something as controversial as Black Lives Matter or whatever, or this movement is getting convoluted, or whatever bullshit people spew? And it's like, this is actually, there have been a lot of complicated things in history. There were complications in World War I that are nuances that are hard to explain. Same thing with all of the wars, I suppose. This is the easiest thing I've ever heard to explain. There's no convolution. There's no messages that are confusing. You either believe that Black Lives matter or you don't.
And all lives can't matter until Black Lives matter, because Black is in the all. And I don't understand why that's so hard for people to understand. Like, my life matters too. No one's saying your life doesn't matter.
Who the fuck
Nobody
is talking to you, Karen? Who is talking to you?
Like, there was a great TikTok of this girl, I'm going to go help this house is on fire. I'm going to go help them out.
I talk about it on the show every day.
Right?
Like, what about my house?
My house matters too.
Is your house on fire? Who's dying in your house?
Nobody. We need to focus on this house because it's on fire right now.
This shit is psychotic. And like, I saw, there have been so many different correlations. A lot of, because it also is Pride Month. And that is one thing I do feel like I'm not acknowledging enough right now. And I've been obviously distracted with, not distracted. I've been very focused elsewhere. But a lot of my LGBTQ plus friends are tweeting things like, imagine if you right now, it's like, it's Pride Month and people are like, yes, straight lives matter. Like, that shit is, that's psychotic. Because like, yes, bitch, your straight life matters all the other months too. Like, we're just focusing right now
because they're struggling right now. They're having a hard time right now. They need the lift right now.
fucking ridiculous.
I just don't understand why it's so hard to understand. Like,
so when you say that you don't understand why, what do you think is the actual reason? Like, I try to break this down so I can understand the other side so that I can change the other side, because I think the only way that you like can make the enemy your friend is by understanding what the fuck is so difficult for them to understand. So do you think it's mostly because of the way they were taught? I don't even know what suggestions to give, but what do you think when you think about it?
I saw something really smart from like a psychologist, and she was talking about how it's easier to accept an idea than to reject it. So like your mind has to do more and take more steps to reject an idea than it is just to like blindly accept something. It's easier for your mind to handle. And that like made so much sense to me. I do think it's part in kind of your upbringing and what you were raised. Like I see a lot of TikTok videos of kids like trying to explain to their parents that they're part of the problem, that Black Lives Matter, and like their parents disowning them and telling them, no, you're wrong, when they try to explain all of this to them. So there are some people who can fight against what their parents know and what their parents have tried to teach them. But I definitely think it's a lot about upbringing. It's about just not being exposed to certain things as well, like not having those experiences or not seeing those experiences in your everyday. So you can't put yourself in that position. And just kind of just as powerful negative voices telling you these things that make you want to believe it. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I think that all kind of plays a factor.
I mean, it makes no fucking sense, but I understand the concept of it's easier to accept something than to reject it. I think that's why a lot of people align politically with their parents or religiously with their parents, because whatever you are explained first is kind of the thing that you might hold on to. Which is why I do have a lot of hope for future generations, because I do feel like our generation is more educated than the generation before us in terms of what is right and what is wrong. And hopefully that gets passed on. I do want to get to some of you guys in the super chat and the Streamlabs. And then also I want to talk about this fucking YouTube situation because it's driving me mad. So we'll get to it all. Starting with Larry Lease, who's always first in here. He says, hit that like button, guys. Larry, thanks for pimping out the stream so I don't have to. I appreciate it. Billy Polahan, who says, this is because I like you both and you're my friends. I'll be there for you. I wonder what that little emoji is. It's like a little purple.
Is it music notes? I think it's music notes.
Really? I feel like they don't separate them at all. It looks like just like a purple blob. All right. Good enough. Then Sean Cal says, sure thing, Larry. Done. Great reminder. Sally says, need to go wash in deep condition, but popping in to say, hey, love to you both. Sally, thank you for letting us know. I love being updated on you guys.
Yes.
I want to know all of the things. I haven't seen this, so I'm curious if you know what he's talking about. Dodger Ryan says, hello, Roxy and Jeannine. Did you guys check out the Candace Owen video on George Floyd? If so, what were your thoughts? Did you see this?
I saw briefly just her kind of, she is a Black woman, but she has kind of these opinions of he's being a martyr, and, you know, she's kind of against the whole Black Lives Matter movement. So basically that was a lot of things she was spewing and talking about. And she seems to be a type of person who just kind of goes with where the money goes, where the clout goes. So she's not, I feel like she doesn't have her own informed opinion. She just says things to be controversial for the sake of it, for the attention of it.
Well, probably kind of what you were talking about earlier. Like, it was easier to accept things than to reject them. And she wasn't strong-willed enough to reject any of the concepts that she was hearing about or learning. So I don't know much about her, but
I think I saw a video of her kind of spouting some stuff about how the NRA was started because it was a way to teach Black people how to defend themselves or something like that. Like, she spouts all kinds of nonsense without.
Where did she come up with that from?
I have no idea. I found a video, so I think I might post it on my Instagram stories. But this guy kind of talking about her comments and showing a clip of her saying weird things like that, and then she tends to kind of just say these things just to be controversial, just to get the attention. And so, yeah.
Oof, okay. Sounds like not my favorite person, but
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to look into it. Billy Polahan says, make sure you watch Live at the Roxy, and it's a wonderful podcast. Morgan Robinson and Jeannine's show. How's it going?
It's going good. We try to just keep it fun and talk about movies and stuff, but we also don't want to ignore what's going on out there.
It's such a hard balance right now.
Yeah.
It's so challenging because you also want to give people like the mental space to live life and
enjoy things still, and
especially like I feel like shit anytime I'm exhausted. I'm like, oh, welcome to what it's like to be a Black person for all of their life. I'm exhausted because I'm fighting for fucking 2 weeks. Like, suck it up, rocks. So I feel like it's great to try to give that positive mental health for people of like entertainment and stuff, but it's challenging.
Yeah, and it's been great kind of because, we get silly and we laugh. And so it's nice to kind of have that little bit of a breather in between kind of watching videos that kind of anger you and see people just saying dumb things. And so I hope we can give that back to people, that kind of positivity. So
are you able to compartmentalize it all, Jeannine, right now? Like, are you able to see everything that's going on and then watch a fun video and really like turn your brain off from things? Or is it all kind of blur together at some point?
It all kinds of blurs together. It's hard not to think about those things or them to come up. Because in the back of my mind, it's heartbreaking. It's sad. It makes me anxious. And I don't want the conversation to stop. I don't want the movement to stop. I don't want to not have it be in the forefront. But it's kind of hard to make that balance where you kind of want to give people something entertaining to look at for a minute and not feel like you're ignoring the bigger issues that are going on out there. So it's hard to find that balance, but doing my show with Morgan and doing our stuff together and our patrons being so positive and them telling us that it helps them, it makes them smile during all of this, that keeps me positive. That makes me happy to do it. So
Jeannine, is Morgan the one that doesn't live in the States?
Yeah, he's in the UK. So
okay.
So
I think all of my friends that don't live here right now are looking at America like, what the hell? Fuck.
But they're having amazing protests and stuff too over there.
I know. But between now and even the last several months with COVID and just like people being like, let me cut my hair or give me death. My friends in the UK have called so many times to be like, what the fuck
is happening right now? Yeah.
What is up with your country? Or anytime that Donald Trump opens his mouth. I mean, we barely spoke about this on the show, but like when he tried to fucking quote George Floyd and say that he would be happy right now with great day. Yeah. It was like, you are the most ignorant fuck.
Yeah.
You like, what are you thinking?
Yes.
And all of my friends overseas are like, yeah, that shit does not fly here. And I'm like, well, we don't do things right all the time. Staying in here, Glenn Caesar says, Roxy, it's called the peaceful protesters' love for BLM is the bubble that is protecting them from the spread of COVID-19. Very cool indeed. I mean, knock on wood, but let's hope. Let's freaking hope, because the last thing not the last thing I want to see, because there's so many horrible things, but one of the last things I want to see is in 2 weeks, all of these incredible protesters getting incredibly sick. And if they do get sick, I know there have already been funds that have been started, which is great. And we're just going to have to flip as a country into putting our resources towards that and taking care of everybody who is fighting the good fight right now. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But if it does, then we just have to fucking jump on that immediately and fundraise for that and deal with that when it does happen. Because we can't just not be protesting right now. So it's a necessity. Dodger Ryan says, just saw the movie Detroit and it was a great movie, but hard to watch. Jeannine, did you ever watch it?
I haven't watched Detroit, but I recently watched Just Mercy, and that had some difficult things in there.
I thought it was Just Mercy was incredible.
Yes, I'm surprised it did not do as well as it should have.
I went to a screening of it where the entire cast and the actual lawyer came and spoke.
Oh, wow.
And it was so incredible.
Mhm.
And you just like, I thought it should be nominated. The actor should have been nominated.
Yeah.
The movie,
Everything.
the script, it was so beautiful. And just exhibit 4,982 on why we're not fucking doing this right. That movie was
Yeah.
barely acknowledged.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that's possible.
So
It was
good. And best I've seen Michael B. Jordan, like so powerful, so emotional.
Yeah. But I actually didn't see Detroit either. That's the Catherine Bigelow one.
Yeah.
Is that
With John Boyega.
Yeah. I haven't seen that, and I should, and I will. I also haven't seen Ava DuVernay's 13, and I need to make time to watch her series. So there's a lot of necessary viewing that I need to do to educate myself better. Going back in here, Morse Code Z says Facebook is proof it's easier to believe. What does that mean? Okay. I'm not sure if you're right or wrong because I'm not even sure what that means. Exactly. Shout out to dear friend Steph Sabra for being in here showing love right now. Appreciate you, babe. And also, I think I see our girl Miss Movie. Miss Movies is in here as well. Brienne. The book is even more incredible. # Just Mercy. And also, our amazing friend Rachel Cushing is in here right now too. I highly recommend watching Selma. It was such a moving movie going experience the first time, and it's even more so now. Thank you, Rachel. To all of our awesome friends that are showing up and continue to show up. You guys fucking rock. I love this community, and I love our friends, and thank you for being here right now. So speaking of this community and YouTube, Jeannine, I know I was talking to you about this a little bit before we went live, but for anybody who didn't see my tweet, I wanted to air out a grievance with YouTube. I understand I'm on their platform right now, and I'm kind of at their mercy because I have looked into Twitch, and I don't know that it's a viable option for me, although I'm going to continue to look into it as long as YouTube is doing what they're doing. But YouTube, I put images of this so people wouldn't be like, is that even happening? Yeah. YouTube is demonetizing. They call it limited, but limited really means that it's not suitable. They write what limited means. It's not suitable for ads. Is demonetizing any videos that I put out that have to do with Black Lives Matter. And that is something that to a lot of people responded to me saying, you're trying to profit off of the movement. Absolutely not. Let me further explain. Number one, I stream 7 days a week anyway. As you guys know, this is one of the ways that I pay my rent. But that is YouTube saying to creators, we are going to punish anybody
as well.
And we're going to punish anybody who chooses to talk about this on their platform by making it more hard for you to pay your rent. But that being said, not that I need to share this or say this, but just so you guys are aware, every extra dollar that doesn't go to paying my bills right now, I am spending to support BLM and all different funds and donating because that's my choice, where that everybody has a choice what they can do with their income, and that is mine. And I'm planning on continuing to do that for as long as I can. But again, this isn't about that. It's about the fact that YouTube has deemed this a political movement when it's fucking not. It's fucking not. And I can't say that enough times. But Jeannine, thoughts on YouTube right now, and why, not only why are they doing this, but what is your thought on the fact that they are?
It feels like they're taking a stance. They're choosing a side. And like people are just asking for equality. That's it. So why should it even be kind of like a political issue? The fact that they're silencing people kind of wanting to express this movement and lift up this movement is showing a clear bias in them truly taking a side. And that's kind of gross. Like, I don't understand why they wouldn't just, like, YouTubers should be, kind of talk about whatever you want to talk about. And the fact that they're silencing those voices in that message it's kind of gross. Like, I don't.
And they made their icon black, and you don't get to fucking do that.
Yeah, when you're silencing and minimizing creators who want to lift up that hashtag, that message. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why they would do that and then try to play like they're in support of it.
if you want to not be in support of the movement, then fucking say that out loud so we know where you're at. Because you can't pretend at this point. It's like, I saw a lot of my friends, most of my colleagues and friends have been amazing about this, but I saw a lot of people posting the black square for Blackout Tuesday and then I looked back in their Twitter and their Instagram, and they haven't said one thing prior, and they haven't said one thing since. And I don't know if they're supporting financially or if they are going to protest, but if they are, they're not making that known. And it's like, you don't really get to just do one thing and be called an ally.
Yeah.
At least I don't think. What do you think about that, Jeannine?
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. I mean, I've seen other people on other platforms try to share things that help the movement and their videos being taken down. And even in the past, I've heard a lot of things from Black creators on YouTube saying that, you know, their videos get demonetized a lot, or they're not put on the main page like, you know, the popular white creators and things like that. So I feel like YouTube has a history of like this, they try to be subtle about it, discrimination towards people of color, or anything that they feel is too political or shows them taking a side, because I don't know if that pulls money out of their pocket, or I don't know if they feel like if we're too strong on taking this stance, then we're going to lose money somewhere else. But I think they just need to be fair. Like, I don't understand. It's people asking for equality. It's uplifting a group of people who needs it. So I don't understand why they would want to suppress that in any way.
And some people said that it's not YouTube. Some people in response to my tweet said it's not YouTube to blame as much as it is the advertisers. But I fight against that, because look at what corporations are saying right now. I mean, have you fucking followed Ben and Jerry's? Like, you don't think they want to put an ad on my video right now? Are you looking at Nike? You don't think that they would advertise right now? Like, there's so many companies, so many corporations that are taking a stand. So you can't just say that nobody would want to have ad space in front of a BLM video, because that's not fucking true.
Yeah.
So I don't believe you, and I don't appreciate it. And again, I know I'm on their platform, so I'm kind of at their mercy, but what the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy. I just don't understand how they can like be so clearly choosing a side just for that extra money and not support something as important as people just wanting equality. Like,
this is why people end up calling corporations greedy and evil, because like, you do shit like this. Rachel says they're encouraging the ridiculous narrative that entertainers shouldn't have opinions on anything outside entertainment, and fighting for human rights isn't political. I know, that's the thing. Like, I don't even have an opinion on this. I just believe the fact that Black Lives Matter. It's like, what the fuck is it even my opinion? Like, there's I'm not even stating, like, this is not a religious stream or a political. It's no
basic fact.
I just don't even know what to, because it is what it is. Let's see. Morse code. I'm always too cryptic. I was talking about how often people share fake memes that cater to what they want to be true. Oh, I've seen that on Facebook, where people will post something and then other people just automatically believe it. I think I know a little more about what you're talking about. Rachel says, oops, sorry, love you ladies. Wait, what is she sorry about? Why is she sorry? What did I miss? Any thoughts, Jeannine? What is happening? All right. I don't know. Don't be sorry, Rachel. You're amazing. Samir Tesfai says, love you, Jeannine. Heart, and love your artwork. You send us Patreons every month. You're talented ASF. What do you send to your patrons every month?
So my $5 patrons, they get an art print every month, and I sign at the back with like a little message to them. So
you are such an amazing artist, and you are also an incredible singer. So what's going on right now with your duets, with your TikTok singing, with your art? What have you been focusing on, or are you having a hard time focusing on that right now, or is it kind of a good distraction?
Yeah, I haven't done too many TikToks. I've kind of just been stuck like scrolling through TikTok videos that talk about all this stuff and just trying to stay informed in everything that's kind of been going on.
Yeah.
I did like a little kind of lip sync TikTok. Just there's a song called Focus, and it's about, someone wanting their partner to focus on them. But kind of when she says focus, like my mind took it to like when people say all lives matter. Yes, they do. But right now we're asking you to focus on us. So I did like a little TikTok kind of displaying that. And then I did a whole, Video Drew has these karaoke parties on Twitch. So she invited me to join one, and like the Barbarian was there, and, Tom came in. And so it was really fun kind of after the week. Friday night, we did this whole kind of karaoke, and I got to sing on there and hang out with friends. And so it was a nice kind of detox, singing it out. Yeah. So that was fun. And I think me and Video Drew are going to kind of do some more fun kind of karaoke things in the future. So I'm excited about that, but definitely singing and delving into artwork. Karen Volpe, her brother, he asked me to do some things for her. He wanted me to do her kind of saying, Paul Preston's wife, she had a saying that was like, always be producing. And so he wanted me to do kind of a fun, like 70s style, like smiley face, always be producing design. So that was kind of something fun I recently got to work on. So yeah, just delving into artwork, delving into our Patreon, getting to interact with all my patrons. They're amazing, doing doing these art prints, sending, nice messages to them. I hope that just kind of puts some positivity out there. So
Jeannine, you are so fucking talented.
Thank you.
I know that that's probably a hard thing to respond to, and I didn't just ask a question, but you are so fucking talented. I just think that like people need to see that more. So if you don't already know how talented she is, follow her on social media right there, and also her TikTok, and become a patron of hers so that you can get some of her amazing prints. The $5 tier, and you get a print a month. Did you say?
Yes, you get a print a month, and then we
do
these
live crazy, dude.
Yes. So right before this, we do Patreon live streams with all our patrons, our $5 patrons, and me and Morgan just kind of sit and we have silly conversation. We did kind of delve into some of these issues, and we just laugh and have a good time, and it's a great kind of chat with our patrons and get to kind of know them and talk to them. And so it's a fun time.
What is the Patreon? It's patreon.com/
at It's a Wonderful One, because our podcast feed is the It's a Wonderful podcast. So it's a wonderful one on Patreon. Perfect. And actually, we are donating all our Patreon money from May, and both me and Morgan are matching that amount each and donating that to the Breonna Taylor GoFundMe. So
wow. Yes. And you guys you're independently matching, and you're also donating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's awesome.
Yes. And last month we donated our Patreon money to Craig Rayner and all his stuff for his wife Sonia. So yeah.
So not only so I already said, Jeannine, you're so fucking talented. Also, Jeannine, you're so fucking amazing. Just like you have such a beautiful soul, and I'm very lucky to know you. Thank you. To Larry Leeson here, Roxy, get back on TikTok. I'm a little preoccupied. Yeah. I don't know if I should do any more shaving my legs videos on TikTok right now. It just doesn't really feel like the time. A little, what do they call it? Tone deaf. But maybe in the future I'll work on some amazing TikToks. I want to get into some of these in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Going with Luke first. He says, hi, Roxy. Thank you for all you're doing. I made this song about the riots for you and all of my USA friends. I'd love if you checked it out. I will, but if I put it up on here, I'll get flagged. So I don't want to get anything further flagged, but I'll check it out at a different point, Luke. So I can't wait to watch it. Yeah, I'm with you, Rachel, who says, thank you for being you, Jeannine. Demo, who says, Jeannine is amazing. All very, very true. That's great, Jeannine. This is Jeremy. We're obsessed with Jeannine in here. Obsessed with Jeannine. You guys are awesome. Okay, going back in here. Let's see. Delisha Renee says, okay, we go all over the place on this show. So totally taking a left turn here. If you could be a part of a sitcom, which one would it be? To make it harder, Friends is off the table, Roxy. Okay. Jeannine, if you could be a part of a sitcom, what are you thinking?
I would say either Saved by the Bell or Family Matters.
Awesome. Saved by the Bell. What a weird choice.
I love that show.
I mean, if I could be a part of a sitcom, well, like, it depends on what part. Like, do I get to choose the part?
Right? Because I mean, can I be in a part where Zach and Slater are fighting over me? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be into that.
Like, am I able to be in Fresh Prince and be Will Smith's girlfriend? Because,
Right?
like, is that a role? Thank
Yeah.
you. Because I'll take that one. Trying to think of any like more modern ones. I don't know. It's really the old school ones that you want to be a part of. I have
Right?
such nostalgia for them. So yeah, that's mine. Fresh Prince. And I not only do we date, but we fall madly in love, and I change all of his ways of dating all of the women. There we go. That's mine. All right, going back in here, Morse code said just some random support and love for two special ladies, no question. Thanks, Morse code. Sugar Gum says, Jeannine, you are more than your looks, but oh my God, you're gorgeous. Have either of you seen the documentary 13th? Oh, that's what we were just talking about. It's on YouTube for free and on Netflix. Do you guys think it's better? Okay, it says so many parts of this. Do you guys think it's better that we have no MLK type figure with the BLM movement, or should we have a leader? That's a great question. What do you think about that, Jeannine?
I don't know. I never really thought about that. I mean, I don't know if one individual can maybe make things more difficult or be kind of the one thing that people will focus on and pick at and nitpick.
Right.
Whereas when it's kind of just everybody, I think that's a little more harder to ignore. And I think it's like you can't just pick one person to go against because it's so many people.
Do you know Kendrick Sampson?
No.
Okay, Kendrick Sampson, for anybody who doesn't know, he was on Insecure, Flash, Vampire Diaries, How to Get Away with Murder, Supernatural. He's an actor. If you saw him, let me pull him up actually so I can just show the phone. But he, first of all, bona fide hottie. Holy shit, am I in love with him? But other than that, he has been such an extreme activist, and not that he is the MLK of this movement, but I will say that he has organized a lot of the Los Angeles, at least, based protests, and is kind of at the center of, let's see if you can really see him here. You know who that is?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay.
I've seen him.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what
I do watch
saying.
Insecure, so I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean, like, come on.
Yes, I watch Insecure, so I know. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. I love him so much. And then, like, doesn't it just make you love somebody so much more when on top of that they're just a badass and like
right?
He's just a fighting fierce dude. But I feel like there have been people that are leaders in this. They just aren't necessarily, it's not the same as MLK, because with social media, everybody has the opportunity to be a leader.
To have a platform. Yeah.
To have a platform. So I think that it's kind of cool that everybody gets to feel like a leader and feel motivated to motivate other people.
Yeah.
But I do feel like some figureheads are popping through who are doing so much. And I think that's great too. So yes, thank you, Sugar Gum, for that. Jake Yacovetta says, yeah, I agree. Jake Yacovetta says, salute to the OG Action Army member, Jeannine. Love you both.
That's an inside joke for sure.
What, are you the OG Action Army member?
Well, we were at like when everything, I think it was after Spectacular, all the action people got together at the house where all the action, Army people and the Call to Action crew were staying. And, Ben and Drew came and they did a live stream there. And I was there, and Jake went on there. And like, I've been a fan of Ben and Drew since like before they were Action Army. Like they had Action Movie Anatomy. Right. My friend Brian, who was like OG Screen Junkies fan with me, Brian Hurst, he had
oh, I know who that is.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever been on my friend Jack Shipley, he had the show, he had the debate show at Fan Friction. And so Ben and Drew came on Fan Friction, and that was the first time I saw them. I'm like, these dudes are cute, they're charming, they're funny, I want to follow their content. So then I started watching Action Movie Anatomy, and then they got on the Schmoedown and they became Team Action. And so then like, huge fan, and Jack is in here. Hey, Jack. So
no way.
Yeah, I just saw it pop up.
I'm missing so many things today. People are saying they've sent things. I don't want seeing them. Yeah, I think YouTube's mad at me for saying fuck YouTube. So they're hiding things. Oh, there we go. I do see now. Yes. Hello, just in time for a shout out. Yes, Jack, slay.
So that was the first time I had ever seen them. I followed them to, Action Movie Anatomy. And since then I followed them on the Schmoedown. And so I was a fan of them from like forever ago, joined all their fan groups, everything. So then we're in this Action House, we're doing this stream, and Jake says that I'm not Action Army. He says like I'm a new fan to Team Action.
No
To
way.
Action. Yes. And everyone just turned and looked at him like, because they know me, they know my loyalty to these dudes since the start. And like as soon as he said that, everyone just like looked at him like, what did he just say?
Jake,
so now
you're my mod and you're my boy, but also what the fuck?
Yeah, so it's a running joke now that like, oh, I didn't know Jeannine was an Action Army, Jake, right? So it's kind of I haven't let him live it down yet. So
speaking of Schmoedown, that's not the most controversial thing that took place in Schmoedown ever. Oh boy, we've been on fire this week.
Yes.
So I wanted to, if you're okay with it, get your thoughts because I saw today Robert Meyer Burnett put out a statement and then RB3 responded to that statement. I don't know if you had a chance to see those.
I kind of looked at it. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of? Because I saw usually you're in the Facebook group and you've got opinions on things. And 99.999% of the time I completely agree and I like everything that you say. But I didn't see you speak much about this and I was wondering what you thought of the whole situation.
I was kind of saving it so I could kind of talk about it on Machine Mondays, my Monday show.
Good plug.
So I talk about it on tomorrow's show. I kind of get into it. Like, I don't even really have like a statement of things I wanted to say. I just kind of start talking. So, they wanted me to be on the backstage episode. So they did ask me. I know a lot of people were like, this is just a bunch of dudes. Like, where's Jeannine? They did ask me to be on that backstage episode that was Jay and Winston and RB3 and Chance and all that, but I had to work, so I couldn't be on. So I tried to like sneak in the bathroom so I could like watch some of it and like even kind of give my opinions in the chat.
It is so fucked up though that the narrative of people immediately goes to why didn't you ask her? Because right now, like for me, a lot of people are saying to me like, why haven't you asked this person? I'm like, I have, and I'm being respectful of the fact that they're fucking exhausted during this time and don't want to come on the show. Like, why immediately is the assumption that Christian didn't ask you to come on the show? Like, that would be such a weird. But anyway, sorry, continue.
So I saw kind of what was going on, and it was just very disappointing because it was on Blackout Tuesday. It was like such a positive day. People were shouting out my content. People were saying, hey, follow Jeannine, join her Patreon. She's amazing. She's a Black creator. Like, I was getting a lot of love that day. A lot of Black creators were getting a lot of love that day. I saw a bunch of my friends posting, they were blacking out their picture and taking that shit seriously. They were advocating, posting, places to donate. They were posting information, articles, had friends saying, hey, make sure if you're gonna do the blackout and put the Black picture, don't use the hashtag because you're gonna, people are gonna go to that. Yeah, exactly. So people advocating for the day and it was such an amazing, positive day of sharing information and having conversations and sharing where to donate, all of that.
And highlighting incredible creators. Yeah.
And so then just to cap off the day with that anger, like I understand, like I don't think R&B is racist. And I get the anger. 100%. We're all angry every day, especially right now, at seeing a Black man get killed, trying to protect a pawn shop. I get that anger, but the way he expressed it, inciting violence, and having people of color come to him after he said that and kind of try to talk him down and be like, it was like my friend who, we were trying to explain to him about white privilege and him just not listening and just saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That was that same kind of situation.
But then later on understanding because you're in a more appropriate place to listen.
Exactly. So it's kind of that same situation. Them kind of trying to talk him down and talk to him about it and him just, fuck you, no, you're disingenuous. You don't care about this man's life. Like that whole kind of exchange and him just doubling down, tripling down on his defending his original post that's inciting violence and shoot to kill and all that. Very negative, can definitely be perceived as, a racist kind of comment, hurtful to many people. So definitely I agreed with Christian's decision. I have so much respect that, Christian did have a conversation with him. He didn't just see this exchange and say he's done. Like, I like that they talked about it and that they both came to agreement that it was best for the Schmoedown and it was best for the community right now. I was not happy to see people kind of calling for RB3's head. I don't think he did anything wrong. I have so much
I don't
respect.
understand how people could think he did something wrong. I'm
Exactly.
so confused by that, but
Why
okay.
he should have to apologize. And, I just didn't get any of that. Like, I have so much respect for him for standing up, for calling that out. He tried to do it in a way that, was positive, but he got met with shut up, fuck you, all of this stuff. So how is he in the wrong?
And anyone who knows him, like
yeah.
I mean, we just know him so well, so I feel like it's hard to even not come to his defense because he's just for lack of better words, the cutest, sweetest, warmest. Like everything about him is so golden.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's just like his soul is just so pure, and there's something about him. And he came out of the goodness of his heart to help shoot my World Girls first episode and would do that 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Because all of us are broke as a joke and can't fucking do much to and show up for each other the way, but he just is so, I'm obsessed with him. So seeing anybody call for his head is like
crazy to me. Yeah. So just to kind of, I totally agree with RB3 calling that out. I don't get why people are coming for him or have been coming for him. I do not agree with anything R&B said, but I don't think he's a racist. I do believe that maybe down the line he could come back to the Schmoedown. I don't think that's something that would make me uncomfortable because I feel like he did apologize. I feel like he did take that time to realize what he said was wrong and how it was hurtful,
right,
and how it was counterproductive to the cause, particularly on a day that was meant to highlight this cause. That's kind of the thing that made me the most angry. But
yeah, I completely hear you on all those, and I think you're justified. I don't even think that's an opinion. I know that you're justified in feeling that way. But did you see Emma and Clark's responses?
I heard that people were coming at them, but I didn't see what they said.
They both talked about Clark talked about experiencing sexism with him before. And Emma and both of them used the word trash. I think they both called them trash. And I don't know, I don't remember if Emma said something about personally or whatever it was. But I read those and I was like, this is how everybody has different experiences because I never experienced anything like that with him. But I also love Emma and Clark and obviously believe everything that they say.
I wouldn't expect them to,
but I just never had any kind of experience with him. And I was curious if you had any kind of anything with him. Did you even interact with him much?
Not much. So I've never had any kind of experience with him or even any kind of racist interaction with him or anything like that. So I can't speak to that. But just my personal feelings on what he said, I did not care for it. I could definitely see that perceived as a racist kind of rant that could amp up the wrong people.
I think any time any human being during this situation says shoot to kill, they're in the wrong. I mean, that's not, it's not a phrase that would be used on the Black Lives Matter side. And it shouldn't be a phrase that's used on there's no, there's no version of that that's okay.
Yeah. Telling all the gun owners to get out there and do
that's the exact quote.
And it's crazy. So definitely do not agree with that. I don't think RB3 called him a racist at all. He said what he said was racist.
And what he said was racist.
Yeah. So I definitely think, with his apology, with them kind of talking it out, I think that at some point he can come back, but right now it's just not the time. I appreciate that there was a dialogue, there was a conversation. Because that's what's happening right now.
I'm just looking at this for a second. Swaggy blurred. Ladies, and then said, but also hi everyone. Sorry, I didn't realize
the room, Winston.
We went from talking about sitcoms to this. We're all the fuck over the map. But amazing. Oh, sorry, didn't realize this was a serious combo. Seeing him going all over the map. Let's go into the Patreon and get some questions from in here. Patreon.com/Roxy Stryer. All right, so this is from Glenn Caesar. He says, "Hey Jeannine, do you have any books that you like to read or music you like to listen to when you want to lift your spirits? So any particular authors or musicians that you find inspiring?"
I'm bad at reading. I don't read very much.
I am the slowest fucking reader. Like, I hate when people ask me about books I like to read. I hate it because I hate that part of myself that's like,
Yeah, I don't read
reading.
much. Yeah, I think the last set of books I read was The Hunger Games, and that was like when those movies came out. So,
Girl, those books were too long for me. I did not. I listen to things on tape sometimes.
yeah, that's so much easier. Like I should listen to
Sometimes.
more books on tape. But
But what about music?
I listen to her. She's really good. I listen to Paramore. That's one of my favorite bands, and they kind of
Really?
yes,
I
they kind
can
of
see
hype me
that
up.
in your voice. I feel like you've got like you could have influence from Paramore a little bit.
Oh yeah, Foo Fighters. I love Foo Fighters. They make me smile.
Do you want to know
Um,
something amazing about the Foo
Marvin,
Fighters for 1 second? Just my
what's
claim to fame, my humble brag. When Obama was campaigning to be reelected, he was doing he was giving a speech at a house in Beverly Hills. Maybe it was Bel Air. It was like on the way up the hill,
that?
for like 250 people. And I have a famous friend who got me in, and the Foo Fighters opened for him. So like I mean, first, I don't know what's cooler, being this close to the Foo Fighters, being this close to freaking Obama. Both
Oh my
things I was
gosh,
like,
that's
oh
so
my
amazing.
God. But it
I
was
would
so
die.
funny because everybody there was so there for Obama that like
Yeah.
half of them were like, who is the Foo
Who are these
what?
people?
And I was like at a rock concert in this yard. I was like, like just like
Yeah.
screaming. And
Oh
everybody's
my
like, what the fuck?
God, what is wrong with this lady?
But yeah, sorry, that's unrelated
No,
to what
I
you
love
just
that.
said, but
No, I
I
love
love them. They're amazing.
Marvin Gaye, of course. Marvin Gaye has this song called Praise. And that song, like,
Have you covered
even
it?
no, I haven't. It's just
You could
in
do
a
it, girl.
good. I want to. I've done a couple of his songs. But even in the smallest way, that song has kind of soothed me. Like for a long time, when I was first learning how to drive, I crashed because my dad was teaching when my sister was in the back seat, and I wasn't slowing down when I was coming up to a stoplight, and my dad was telling me to step on the brake, and like him just shouting kind of at me, like I pressed the gas and I like rear-ended a car. So
We all did something like that when we were
yes.
learning to drive.
And I'm like you, like I'm directionally challenged. I get
Yeah.
lost very easily, and this was before kind of phone GPS and stuff. So I was always kind of scared to drive long distances because I was always afraid I was going to get lost. And my dad lived in Salinas, which is like 2.5 hours away from me. So whenever I'd want to go to Salinas, like I would always have to drive with somebody, or because was afraid I would get lost. But this time I had to drive by myself, and I was so scared that like I was going to get in an accident, or I was going to get lost, I wasn't going to find my way, I was going to make a wrong turn. And my dad had left some CDs in the car, and one of them was a Marvin Gaye CD. So I put it in, and this song Praise came on, and it was such a positive, uplifting, happy song. And I just found myself like listening to it on a loop the whole drive and singing to it and smiling, and it got me through the drive. And so that song has always just been a really happy song for me.
I love
So
that
love
story.
Marvin Gaye, love that Praise song is a great song for sure.
What a great
And
answer. I love that. I got to listen to that when we're done. I think I know the song, but I want to make sure. Maybe I'll find calmingness in my drives for that too, because my anxiety when I drive these days is through the roof. I'm just like, so, oh my God, driving the streets right now, especially because I live right where a lot of the protests are taking place. And I'm like, just so scared to go anywhere. Just like, in terms of like, I don't want to fuck anything up for anybody. I'm like, like make sure, like showing support, beep, 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 but like don't want to like distract.
Yeah.
All right, more questions. This is an interesting one. I wonder if you have an answer or thoughts on this, coming from Chris Martinez. Also, if you don't want to answer it, always you're welcome to not. But he says, "Hey Jeannine, is there a way to call out racism in the workplace in a professional manner without getting too emotional about the situation?"
I've never been in that situation. Well, in my workplace, I've been in that in other aspects. It's always kind of difficult, and I feel like you can call it out, but you need to give that person time to kind of process it. I know that's kind of unfair to ask of people who maybe think that way, but like I said, it's easier to accept something than to reject something. So like I've been in situations where like I was in San Francisco with some girlfriends like years ago, and we were trying to get a cab to leave the club, and it was raining and we were tired and we were ready to get back to our hotel, and um a cab finally came up because this was before Uber and Lyft and all of that. And um the cab came up, and a bunch of black guys like took our cab. They like just my friend opened the door, we're about to walk to the cab, and they just like got in our cab and took off. And she shouts the N-word at them and calls them that. And like I've been
was your friend white?
Yes. And we're in the streets in San Francisco, and we're like 22 or something like that. Yeah. And we've been best friends since I was 4 years old. Like I lived with her family. Like I would go on like family vacations with them and sleep at her house, and best friends since we were 4. And to hear her say that in that moment, I'm just like, you do understand why you can't say that, right? And she's like, well, I'm not calling you that. I'm like, it doesn't matter. So I had to kind of check her on that. And then at that point, my mom worked in San Francisco at the time. So I had her, I'm like, I can't stay with these people right now. You need to come get me. So I tried to talk to her, and she just couldn't hear me. And so we didn't talk for months and months. And so then finally, she emailed me and said, I'm really sorry I said that. I realized, she needed that time to kind of process what she said and realize why it wasn't right.
Because nobody wants to feel like they fucked up.
Exactly. Especially
but sometimes you fucked up.
Yeah. And there are people who don't realize they're racist or realize their way of thinking isn't a racist way of thinking because, oh, well, you don't think I'm that, but you think other black people are that. And it takes you a minute. Like when somebody calls you out on it, you have to think about, how you see the world.
And she was mad. And like the thing that probably she really wanted to yell was assholes. Like
so many other things she could have said.
It's not like it's ever appropriate to use that word, but that's not the same, even like what you're trying to do. So she just was misinformed, and that's awful that she did that. I'm so sorry to hear about that. That's fucking horrible.
So I had to try to call her out in that moment, but it was not easy. If you're doing it in a workplace environment, I would say maybe broach it in a way like, I think what you're saying could be offensive to people. I don't think it's appropriate to say those things, and then kind of have the conversation from there. I don't know if it's somebody who's kind of seems strong on their stances to throw out the word racist right away. Kimber, I love you, Kimber. That they could get very defensive. I think when you say things like that, people just automatically get defensive and they don't want to hear you out, because we've seen it with the situation I mentioned earlier with the RMB RV3 situation. People get kind of defensive. So maybe just kind of talk to them and say, hey, I think what you're saying is offensive to other people. It excludes other people. You maybe need to think about what you're saying.
And what you're saying, I feel like people are more receptive when it's not shame-based. So like maybe if they say it in front of a group of people, maybe if you do pull them aside, I'm all for calling people out. But if you really want them to change, they're probably more likely to do it if you do it in a way that doesn't make them feel shame and is more like, let me explain what you said. So Chris, good question. Okay, coming in from Weston Ira, hashtag Joxine. So they try to make ship names for me and all of my guests. So I guess ours is Joxine. It's a weird one. Hashtag Joxine is here to hashtag fight the power. Sorry if this is long. Busy day. As I observe the fall of some brands, even President W isn't supporting the doofus in chief now, and the rise of others, Black Lives Matter, John Boyega, Isa Briones, and her auction, etc. It occurred to me, some DJ, Darina Goddard, Inside Report, Snyder, Grace, Sing, Marzonia, Lauren LaGrasso, but I have no idea what to say the brands of your channels are. So what are your wow, oh my God. Okay. We're at the question.
Yeah.
So what are your brands? Also shout out to Koi, who was tear gassed recently at a protest. Oy, I didn't know that about Koi. I like that we're giving a shout out to him for being tear gas. Go Coy.
Yeah.
So what are your
On-stream panel.
brands?
Is this a riddle?
I know. This is Weston. I love this question because what the fuck? So what are your brands? Jeannine, what would you say is your brand?
Like,
I think you're an artist. And art includes singing, and art includes design, and art includes creation. You're a creator.
I'm a creator.
For sure.
And yes, I am the artistic, like I told you, all my family are medical nurses, and I'm just like here being all floofy with my art and, my creating things and making things and singing. And so yeah, definitely artist, creator. That's the core of me, I think.
I am a storyteller. So I like to share people's stories or write stories or performance stories. So I think that's my brand. I feel like for some reason saying like my brand, it sounds so pretentious. Like my brand. Yeah. I'm a storyteller. Yeah. But interesting question, Weston. The way you phrased that, I still can't get over it. That was freaking funny. We did. I was reading it and I was like, "What is happening?" Okay, Gingerbread said, "My grandma used to say, what do you have to lose by treating people with kindness and respect?" Jeannine, what are your goals in regards to your art? And is there any way we can purchase shirt designs from you? And I gotta ask, what's your Zodiac sign? Gingerbread loves to know Zodiac signs. So the first part was your goals in regard to your art. Then if they can purchase any of your shirt designs and your Zodiac.
I would just love to get consistent work I love kind of doing freelance work for people. So I would love to get consistent work doing that. I'm kind of just getting stuff here and there. So I do have my day job that pays my bills, but I would like to be a consistent creator, doing things for like a channel or, Geek Bomb has reached out to me a couple times looking for female artists. And so I've had kind of send them things and do things for them. And then kind of don't really hear anything back. So
really,
yeah, they put out a thing, hey, like 2 years ago, they put a thing out, hey, we're looking for female artists. So I sent a bunch of my work. They were like, we love your stuff. We want you to do these 3 things to see if you can, so I did I learned how to do motion graphics because that was something they needed. So I taught myself how to do motion graphics and I did a bunch of designs in the categories that they wanted. I sent that to them and then I never heard back. And then a year later, they were like, hey, did you, I know we talked to you at some point. So where are you based? And then I said I wasn't based in LA. And then I kind of never heard anything back.
I feel like maybe it's overwhelmed because I know that they have so much going on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're a perfect fit for them.
Yeah. So I was super excited about it. And after I had sent all that stuff, I never really heard anything back. And a year later, they inquired on the same email where I sent all of the stuff. So I was like, so they did get it. And once I told them, no, I'm not based in LA, I'm about 3.5 hours away. I still never really heard anything back. And I do love Geek Bomb and I love their content and stuff like that. It's just weird that I never really, I would love to kind of, so
maybe follow up. I know you shouldn't have to, but maybe follow up during this time and just be like, hey, just looking for anything that you guys want to do. Cause I feel like you're such a perfect fit for that.
Yeah. So I would love to kind of work for some nerdy creators or something or just get kind of more consistent freelance work because that would be great.
What about the shirt designs where they can,
I do have a TeePublic shop, so you can check that out at teepublic.com at G9 design.
G9? I don't know why it made me feel like going like that. Okay, and your Zodiac sign?
I am a Virgo.
What does that mean? Do we know?
Creative is one of those things. A little bit quiet.
I thought you were quiet at first, but I feel like you're not quiet once you get to know you.
Yes, that's usually how I am. I was very kind of introverted, in high school and when I was younger, and kind of have since doing things like the Schmoedown and stuff have definitely come out of my shell. So
I know we have to get out of here pretty soon, but there's a couple more things, guys. Glenn Caesar said, hello, Roxy and Jeannine. Much love to you both and all of the hashtag Rockstars band. This past week has made me even more proud to be a part of this community and show my support. You are all are super awesome. I hope that you have the best Sunday that you possibly can. Thanks, Glenn. You're so sweet. Matthew Gold says, John Boyega is speaking his voice, and it's so cool to see.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, it's been amazing.
He's done an awesome job. And yeah, everything he says, I'm just like, yes. And then did you see Michael B. Jordan actually yesterday? He had like a 8-minute speech that went out about the roles he played.
But I've seen him out there, and that's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been awesome. He's great. John Marston in here says, this might be a dumb question, but I need some info. Why are people saying to not watch The Help on Netflix? I think it's one of the best movies of the last decade. Jeannine, any thoughts on this?
I feel like while I think it does have some good messages in there about racism and stuff like that, I feel like people think it's one of those kind of like great white hope movies where the Black people can't do anything without a Black or a white person coming in and saving them, and like a white savior movie. So I feel like maybe that's why people would maybe be against a little bit, like things like The Blind Side and things like that kind of, but I think in this whole movement, a lot of positivity comes through people really recognizing white allies and people, who have a stronger voice helping elevate our voice. I think that's a huge thing that I've noticed from this whole movement, that white people who support the Black Lives Matter movement, them kind of coming forward and using their voice has been a big part of that. So like the one thing I could see maybe people saying is that it's like, yeah, a white savior movie, but
I think there's, like you just said, though, there's such a difference between an ally and a savior.
Yeah. So I think that's maybe what they get. They get that sensibility from a movie like that.
Some things that I've heard also is that like a lot of roles that are reserved for Black people in Hollywood are roles like that. And you don't see often roles of like a CEO or executive or like boss lady or whatever. And so those are the kinds of movies that people hopefully want you watching right now. So you can see like a Just Mercy, where you can see when somebody like uses their power for good, and like Michael B. Jordan's role. What's the name of the lawyer? I forget who he actually plays, but like him, him in like a suit who's like super fucking smart and just amazing, and like watching that is possibly more valuable. So I think I don't want to speak for anybody, but I feel like that's also something that I've heard people talk about.
Yeah, so I think, if anything that people would see problematic with The Help is just that it's like one of those movies where a white person comes in and helps all the Black people. And that's maybe kind of counterproductive, they would think. So I get like the movie is trying to be positive, but I can see people having that connotation from it.
Lewis Cox in here, just showing support. Appreciate that, Lewis. You're always showing support, and it means a lot to me. It is that time, guys, where we are getting out of here pretty soon. So, Jeannine, I know that we've already gone over some of the places they can find you and support you, but I know you're working on a ton. So can you kind of break down for us the podcast, the art, the TikToks, like all the things where they can find everything and how best to support you right now?
Well, I think I'll be on Emma's show tomorrow at 2. Also, yes, Machine Mondays will be out tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be talking about the recent match that came out and also kind of everything that's been going on and my feelings, kind of dealing with everything. It's a short format podcast, so it's only like 20 minutes. And then this Wednesday, we have Morgan Hasn't Seen on the podcast feed. We are doing modern musicals right now. So we are talking about Dreamgirls. So it's a great Black musical that we can talk about that Morgan hasn't seen. So I'm excited to kind of see his thoughts on it. And he loves that kind of Motown era of music. So I'm curious to see how he's going to feel about the music in the movie. And then Friday, we are doing a patron. They get to choose, depending on what tier they're at, they get to choose a topic for any of our shows. And our patron, Steve, Movie Fanobi, he's always kind of popping around supporting everybody. He's great. He chose the Poseidon Adventure. So we'll be talking about that on It's a Wonderful Podcast, because that's where we kind of showcase.
I don't even know what that is.
It's an older movie.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So It's a Wonderful Podcast is where we talk about old films. One of the other co-hosts of It's a Wonderful Podcast, Nolan Dean, is in the chat right now. So hey, Nolan.
What up, Nolan? Woo, woo. Yeah. Hi, Nolan. Love that.
Yeah. So him and me alternate hosting duties because it was him and Morgan's show to start with, and then Nolan, he couldn't do the show for a while, so I stepped in as a guest host, and then I kind of became a permanent host. So me and Nolan switch off, but it's been me because Nolan, before COVID, got his computer fixed and couldn't get his computer back. So yeah. So yes, Friday we'll be talking about the Poseidon Adventure because we highlight classic films on that show. So check it out on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed, and check out my TikTok at Jeannine the Machine on TikTok. And
so you're Jeannine the Bean on Instagram and Twitter, but Jeannine the Machine on TikTok. I feel like we gotta like streamline.
I know. I can't change my name for they won't let you change your name for like a month.
No way.
So yeah. So once that month is up, I will probably change my TikTok to Jeannine the Bean.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll probably change it to Jeannine the Bean since that's kind of the universal name. And the tea shop, teepublic.com at G9 Design. And check out our Patreon. Jake just put it up. It's a wonderful one. It helps support, Morgan does some awesome media stuff. He helps do the media for a football team in the UK. I have my artwork and all our podcasts together. And when we can, we do donate our Patreon donations that you guys give to us to charity, to people who need it. So yeah. Definitely support us at all those places. Check out all the shows on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed. We work really hard. We love doing it. And we hope it brings you guys a smile when we do. So,
Jeannine, you're like the most kick-ass human being. I love everything that you do. A little bit of housekeeping on this show, guys. I don't know about tomorrow yet. I'll definitely be doing a show at 1. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing it solo or with a guest. And then on Tuesday, we're moving the time of the show. I think it's going to be at 5 p.m. The truthful reason we're moving the time of the show is because I am getting my hair done for the first time in all of this. And this was the only appointment for the next 4 months that's available. So you see these roots? She's got to fix them. So
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to be doing it in the safest possible way, and I'll keep you guys posted on how all that is working. But so Tuesday night, my dear friend Takira Bray is coming on, and she is not only an amazing host, but she's also extremely pregnant right now. And we're going to be talking about all of that. I mean, being pregnant during the time of COVID, and also during a time where, especially as a Black woman, she's trying to figure out ways to protest, but also protect, and all of these things. Just a ton to talk about with her. And she's also the best human. You guys are going to love her. If you don't know her, if you're fans of the Tomorrow Show, she used to co-host that with me. So look forward to that one. And I'll keep you guys posted. Other than that, everybody at home, round of applause for Jeannine Brice. She's both the bean and the machine. Jeannine, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me again. This was great.
Everybody who isn't already supporting her, I know she just told you all the places that you can go support her, so you have no fucking excuse. This girl is more than worth your time, and go show love, support in all the ways that you can. If you can't do that financially, then it is showing up and rating and comment and subscribing and working on all those things, and make sure that you follow her on all the socials and all that great stuff. So appreciate you guys, and I know you'll go do that. Jeannine, you're amazing. I adore you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow live at the Roxy at 1.